Yeah, I will address both of those questions. The first one is how now why do people don't even ask? The reason why, because a lot of times that comes back to the amateur. They're oversharing. They're thinking they're adding so much value. They're thinking they're being nice. They're thinking they're sharing everything that the prospect wants to know. And then by them doing so, they don't ask because they assume the prospect will get back to them without checking in with them, without following up. They're just like, oh, I gave them everything they need. They should get back to me. If they don't get back to me, I'm just going to wait. But then the longer they wait, the longer this energy fades away. So what happens? This is actually going to rock your world. This is really powerful. Most people, Salma, think that a sale happens at the end. What is if I told you that a sale actually happens? Okay, most people think that a sale happens at the end. What is if I told you that a sale happens at the beginning? Your first 5 minutes counts. So how you qualify people is how you close people. And the longer you take time to get to know your ideal client, the better qualifying questions that you ask them to identify early on before any objection comes on. The reason why objections come at the end is probably because you haven't addressed those objections at the beginning. So, what these qualifying questions want to be included in? You need to include, are they even your ideal client? Do they have the problem that you have the solution for? And do they have the budget? So there is way to ask those questions without them being very intimidating and direct. And that positions you already for success because at the end, you already know, okay, I've ticked the box, they have my budget. I've ticked the box, they are my ideal clients. I've ticked the box that they're the only decision maker. They don't need to speak to their partner. So if you're getting the same objections, it's usually because you haven't addressed them early on. So the way I teach it, you actually shouldn't get objections at the end because if you do your job really well at the beginning, the close will be very easy at the end. So what I would say is, yeah, so how you qualify is how you sell. Make sure that you develop between 5 to 10 really good qualifying questions. That's something that I teach a lot in my master classes where I help them create tailored questions. And then when those questions are also designed for them to speak, not for you to speak, for it shows that you really understand them. And then later on the ask itself, there's an art of how to ask for the sell. And when you ask, a lot of people ask with this, like you said, a desperate energy, or they ask with this hesitation. Again, your energy introduces you before you do. Before you even open your mouth, people already can sense. If you have a slight resistance, a slight uncertainty, it's not what you say, it's your energy that people later on will say, no, I'm not going to buy from you because you had that hesitation. So the most certain person will close the deal. So when you can ask this question with confidence and then be quiet after without over explaining, and let them speak, actually anticipate an objection to come. Because when you learn the art of sales, you learn how to handle objections. Most people are afraid of rejections simply because they don't even know how to respond to it. But if they learned how to respond from a no, a maybe, I'm going to think about it, they will have more confidence. They just don't know how to respond to it, and I don't blame them. So, yeah, there is an art to that. There is this energy, the confidence that you need, and there is how to ask the question. I can give you an example. Do you want an example? So you want to keep the client engaged all throughout. So an example, a question could be before just sharing the price straight away. Okay, this is our price. First of all, I would never use the word price. I would say something like, it doesn't have to be like that, but it can be investment, because when you say investment, they know that it's like there's a return on investment for them. So it's something different framing. But I would ask something, hey, look, before I'm going to share the investment with you, before we're going to see how we're going to continue working together, before we're going to set your starting day, do you have any more questions? So this way, you listen to them because the objections wouldn't come later. Again, you handle the objections early on. And then after you said that, okay, and you move on. You say, okay, so you repeat again what they're getting, very bullet point, quick summary. So from everything that we discussed, you seem like the right fit. You seem like this is something that you really want to do. Let me reaffirm, is that something that you want to do? Let them say, confirm to you they want to be your client. And then you say, okay, from everything that you shared, it seems like there's something that you want to do. Now, the only thing that is missing is the investment. So I'm going to share everything with you, and then we're going to take it to the next step. So you're just going to quickly repeat what the offer is. What you will be getting of us working together is this, 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 this. And the total investment is this. Now, here's what a lot of people do wrong. They, as soon as they say the amount, they continue to blab. They continue to talk. And little do they know, what they're doing is they are justifying their price. They're minimizing themselves. They're trying to convince. But if you're confident, you share your price and you're quiet. If you go to any store, they share their price, you go to the till and you pay. You don't negotiate, you don't justify the price. So the same thing happens as well. Because what I see, what people do is quickly they want to say, but we have an installment plan, we have discounts. No, you don't need any of that. You say, look, the total investment of this is this. And then what you need to do is, I teach this, a lot of people laugh about this, it's called STFU. Shut the flower up after you say your price. So you want to zip it completely, and you want to just embrace the awkward silence. And the professionals know how to embrace the awkward silence. And what you want to anticipate is objections to come. You want, instead of you resisting objections, you want to welcome them. You want to see objections as an opportunity for you to get feedback, how to become better, how to actually pitch better, how to handle the objection. An objection is an amazing feedback and an opportunity that a client didn't get a question answered. Your job is to answer their questions and to help them make an informed decision. So when you start viewing it from that way, it's a completely different shift, and the energy shifts completely. So if by me sharing that with you now, do you feel like if you were to do a sales conversation like this, would you feel more confident? Is it more comfortable? Like it's not